Hi guys, this is Julia, and you're listening to Women in Dancehall podcast, where I sit down with female dancehall dancers to talk about their dance journey, lifestyle, mindset, and everything what comes with being a woman in dancehall scene. Today with me, Aga. How are you today?
Hi, Julia. Nice to see you. Nice to talk to you. I'm super excited for this one.
Likewise, likewise. So, just a quick introduction about you. So, we all know you for a very long time. You've been on dancehall scene for over 16 years, which is a very long period of time. You're a dancehall queen Poland. You won the competition European Dancehall Queen contest, Queens on Top, organized by Alevanil. And the recent news that we've all seen over Instagram that you just took over as a CEO and owner of a tour company in Jamaica, which is
Yes.
amazing. And yeah, to be honest, have a lot of respect and adore how you can combine these two different lifestyles together, being a dance hall dancer, a performer, and being a businesswoman. Just excited to hear your story and like shine the light on what you have already accomplished today.
Thank you so much for this beautiful introduction. I have nothing else to add to it. Thanks a lot. And yeah, let's get down to the talk.
All right, so do not be confused because I can ask questions which are not related to dancehall specifically. Okay, it can be very broad about your lifestyle, about your goals, about some of your experiences. So feel free to share anything that you're comfortable with. And I'm sure that a lot of women will be very interested to know how you achieved everything that you have in your life at the moment. And I think that it's important to share the stories, especially within dancehall female community, because a lot of women, they are not just dancers, they also looking for financial stability and independence. They would like to understand how to merge these two lives together and just not just being a dancer, but being a successful woman in every sense. All right, so just to start a little bit maybe about your background, so can you tell us a little bit more about how you was introduced to dance hall, and maybe what was the first dance style you've ever started to practice?
Sure, of course. The first memory that I remember was when I was, I think, like 12 years old, and I went with my parents for a holiday to Egypt. And there was a performance by a belly dancer. And I saw this performance, and I was absolute, like, I was a little girl, and I was so like amazed by the movements of the dancer and the costume, and everything was just so beautiful and magical. And I just fell in love with this whole aura, and I was like, I really want to try this, I really want to dance. So I started, practicing a little bit by myself. Obviously at that time there was no Instagram, no Facebook, so I was trying to research the videos, or like order the CDs with some belly dance courses to my home. And I was very excited about it. And the next thing is, when I was in high school, I signed up for a ballroom dance
Mm-hmm.
classes, which I was doing for like maybe 2 years, and that's what kept me going in dancing. And that's when I really fell in love with dancing and training. Um, and then when it comes to dance hall, at that time I was trying many different dance styles, and I was in love with everything. I really enjoyed just dancing and the movement. And then I remember, I think I was like around 19. I saw our first Polish dancehall queen, which who I want to big up from here, dancehall queen Afro. She was performing in. I don't really watch these shows, but like somebody, I think my ex boyfriend showed me the video. He was like, "Look, you're gonna love it." I was like, "Okay, let's see." And there was this girl performing dancehall queen style on our national TV. It was.
Wow.
I was like, wow, it was so new to Poland because nobody knew about it. Nobody was exposed to it. It was absolutely like new and exotic. And I saw that, I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like, I definitely want to try this style as well. And that was the time when I was moving from my hometown to Warsaw to study psychology. And I ended up in Warsaw, and I realized this girl ended up in Warsaw too. So I took my first dancehall class, and so, yeah, that was 2009, I think. Yeah, and that's how it all started. Before I was trying different styles.
Mm-hmm.
Once I discovered dancehall for myself, I fell in love with it, and I was just continuing this direction.
I can relate a bit because I also was a ballroom dancer before,
Oh,
and I
nice.
think, yeah, it's actually very visible because if you once was practicing some different dance style, it's like the posture itself and everything. You just keep it with you when you go to
Yeah,
different. dance styles. And okay, I knew she's been a ballroom dancer before, because this is something that you cannot just unlearn. It's already like in your body.
Yeah, yeah, that is true.
And I know a lot of people just struggling to go from classic dance style to like street dance lifestyle, because they just
Oh
like,
yeah.
oh my gosh, what should I do with my posture? Like I have to like absolutely change everything like about my body to understand the movement and the groove. So yeah, I can understand the transition itself.
Yeah, that's why I think I went more like dancehall queen style, because the male dancehall, as much as I love to practice it and love to learn from Jamaican dancer, I was never that good at it. I think because of my posture, and my body was not just, it just wasn't made for this like street groove kind of thing. Like, of course I wanted to learn and I wanted to know as much as I can, but it was the dancehall queen style that I felt myself the most, because even when I was starting, I felt like the all the hip movements was the easiest for me to catch. So,
Yeah,
and later all this like flexibility training and stuff. So I feel like that was my way, because in female dancehall you can be a little bit more like, like in, yeah, like in Latin, for example, where everything is so pretty
yeah,
and straight. Like for females it's more, it's still a little bit more about like looking pretty than for the guys, when you have to be really like
tough. Yeah.
street type of groove. Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah. So, do you remember the moment when you just like started to realize, okay, so I'm dancing really good, and some things are, just coming my way. Maybe you start, winning some competitions and contests. Did you set like some kind of roadmap for your dancing career, or was it all happening like naturally?
No, to be honest with you, pretty much my whole life is is, I wouldn't say freestyle, but I just trust the process. Like if it comes from my inside that I want it, it's not just that, oh, I want it because of some other reason. I just genuinely want to be good at it or want to learn it. I figured that everything just goes this way somehow. So I was never planning my dance career or nothing. I didn't know which way it will go. I was just enjoying it so much and loving it so much that naturally I was putting all my time, effort, and money into like being a better dancer. Uh, of course, I had other stuff that I was doing at that time too, but to me it was coming very natural, and I didn't know if I'm going to be good or not. I just, all I knew is that I want to dance and I want to do it as much as I can.
Amazing. I feel like this is the best approach, to be honest, because when you just force yourself into something, it's just not never going to happen. And if you
Yeah.
just enjoy the process, and you just being out there and connecting with people and doing what you love, this is when the possibilities and everything just comes your way. At least that's what I've noticed.
Yeah.
For myself as well.
Yeah, push yourself make, I mean, force yourself make no sense, but I think push yourself is important, because I also see a lot of people being stuck on, oh, I'm not good enough to do the competition, I'm not good enough to make a no. I was, from my experience, I was pretty brave, in terms of like, I think I was dancing like 3 months when I took my first dancehall competition. Of course I wasn't hoping to win or nothing, I just wanted to have the experience. And it was very valuable experience, because in this competition I realized that you really need to know the names of the steps, which I
Yeah.
didn't at that time. I didn't know like this many of them, so it gave me an extra push to, so that when I do competition next time, I research more and I learn more. So for me, the competitions were always like these milestones that I was pushing myself extra hard, no matter what's the result. Because obviously at the beginning you're not gonna reach anywhere far, but at least each time you get more and more experience, and it motivates you to work harder and eventually get better.
Yeah, makes sense. So would you say that you have more experience like in battles, or more experience in contests like dance queen contests?
Oh, definitely, that's dancehall queen contests were my favorite thing. My biggest motivation to grow. Of course, I was doing at the beginning. We didn't have that many competitions in Poland, so I was taking every chance, everything that was there, even like the male and battles and everything that was possible. But
Mhm.
eventually when it grew, and when I also realized what I wanted to do, because at first I wanted to do everything, and I think it was
Yeah.
after my first trip to Jamaica, that I saw how things work here. And to my surprise, because at that time in Poland it was very much about, oh, you need to know the steps, you need to dance the steps. This booty shaking is not all that dancehall is about, it's about the steps. Okay, so I was going a little bit with this mindset, and then I arrived to Jamaica and I see the girls actually shaking their booties. The girls are doing splits, the girls are doing the girly stuff, and
Yeah.
not many girls, if any at all, was doing like really male like routines or complicated steps. So I was like, if that's the way that Jamaicans do it, I think that's the way I should follow too, because that's what I like the most, and also I see that that's how it looks here. And at that time I wanted to be as close to the original like Jamaican dancehall as possible.
And you just started the conversation about Jamaica, and once you started traveling there, you just realized like more authentic way of dance. And
Yeah.
was it also the reason why you later on in your life decided to move to Jamaica, or did you have any other like opportunities coming up?
Oh yeah, definitely. I had a lot of other stuff going on too. My first trip to Jamaica was supposed to be one trip of a lifetime, and I just go to see how dancehall looks. And back in it was 2012, so it was not
Mm-hmm.
easy flight to go there. I think I had like 3 or 4 stopovers. And then it
Yeah.
was very expensive because I was a student as well, so I had to really collect my money for like a year to even afford going there for a month. And I thought it's going to be just once, but then I fell in love with it so much that I ended up going like every year and then twice a year. And then came the year, I remember I was in Jamaica 3 times in one year. I was working like crazy to make money for it. I would go to Jamaica, get absolutely broke, and come back, work like crazy, and all over again. And I realized like, oh, I don't think this makes sense, I should probably do something different. uh, and so I in my head I was like, oh, it would be so nice to like have a work in Jamaica or do something that I could stay a little longer. It's a long story, but basically when I was in Poland dancing for one reggae band, there was a reggae festival and they had
Mm-hmm.
different things in the program, and there was this guy who had a lecture about Jamaica, so I was super excited to like hear about it. And this guy was my future boss. So at the end he said that he's actually looking for somebody who can work for him in tourism. So I was of course there like, please hire me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely
that's
amazing.
the chance. But yeah, I talked to him. We had a couple meetings. Then we did the test tour, and he was very happy with my work. Then I did all the like the tour guides course in Poland, so that I have official papers. And I started working for the company. It
Mm-hmm.
was 2017, I think. So I would come to Jamaica for like 3 4 months in a year. So I was living like, let's say 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
Do the work for the tour company, then come back to Poland and do my all my dancing stuff. And eventually in at the end of 2019 I came again just for a season for 3 4 months, and that's the time when COVID happened.
Oh.
So that's what actually made me move to Jamaica, because I stayed, I thought like for maybe 2 3 extra months. It ended up to be 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So after that experience, like I always wanted to live here, but of course Jamaica is not an easy place to live. It's beautiful, it's amazing, but it's nowhere as comfortable as Europe. You have to really work a lot to, and
Mm-hmm.
have a good plan for yourself, because the government will not help you. You're not gonna get money for giving a birth to a child. Like, no, you just have to, organize everything by yourself. Like the healthcare is also like, oh, yeah, you
Mm-hmm.
better be prepared for everything. So I, I I could never imagine myself living here full time, just because I thought it's probably a little bit crazy and irresponsible. But then when I was forced to, I realized like, hey, I can make it. Like, I even without tourists, I somehow made it to survive just with like some dancing jobs and Instagram and everything. So I realized that, okay, if I can survive during COVID, I can probably do everything, and just decided to move. After that, I also came to Poland for 3 months,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what made me realize that.
Jamaica it is because the weather in Poland sucks.
Yeah, exactly. And it was autumn winter time, so yeah, it was super cold. It was a bit depressing, and I couldn't find my place there. And yeah, I was like, no, I have to make it work to stay in Jamaica. And I came back and I started working more for the tour company. I got my work permit, sorted out my papers, and yeah, and I'm here.
That's the most successful COVID story I've ever heard, honestly.
Yeah, I can't complain on COVID at all.
Everyone is just like, oh my God, I had to sit at home for a year, we couldn't go out and everything. It's just like, wow, I was at the beach, living my best life in Jamaica.
Yeah, no, of course, in Jamaica we also had some restrictions, and it was the life was slower than it would normally be, but still I feel so blessed to be stuck here and not in, not in
Yeah,
Europe. Everything was on lockdown and people literally had to pause their lives for like 2 years almost.
yeah,
Here at least I could do some productive stuff and dance, and I did so many like video shoots, and there was a lot going on. So I also had a motivation to practice every day, to stretch, to you know so that
yeah.
was a good thing that yeah, it was really a blessing to be here
hmm
doing
And
that.
you mentioned the jobs that was coming out from social media, and some dancing job and
Hmm.
collaboration with artists. So I'm sure a lot of women in dance hall are really interested in knowing what you're supposed to do to get into video shoot, for example, with Vibes Carter. Oh my God, or with Idonia or Sean Paul. Like you have like huge experience, and you collaborated with so many different artists. Can you maybe share some tips or like
Hmm.
explain how these collaborations like came about and how you
To
was.
be honest with you, yeah, the thing is I never like message artists or videographers or nothing. It will always be like job coming to me. And I think the only thing is like once you show your face in a music video, once you dance and they like you, and because it's not just about how you dance, it's
Mm-hmm.
also like how professional you are, if you show up on time, if you have even nice wardrobe, if you are pretty. Unfortunately, that's a lot about like a lot of these videos are not really about dancing skills as we understand them, because even if you can create the craziest choreography, is like minority of video shoots that will appreciate it. It's a lot about just being a girl, whining to and knowing how to work with the camera, working with your face. So there's a lot of different things that they look at. It's not just how good of a dancer you are, but also how you work with them and how
Mm-hmm.
professional you are and all that. So but I think once you get in this and they like you, they will call you for the future jobs. And the best advice is just to give your 100 on every shoot, because you never know who is working with who. And maybe you do a shoot for a small artist, but then the same videographer will be doing Idonia next week and they're gonna call you again.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, just being prepared, having um, if they ask you to bring one outfit, bring five just in case, because you never know. Um,
Wrote right down.
yeah, 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 exactly. Like you have to be, because sometimes they don't even know what they are planning to shoot. They will tell you, "Oh, just
Mm.
bring some casual clothes," and then they change their mind, like, "Oh, we want to do a date scene, so do you have a dress and heels?" And you're like, "But you didn't tell me to bring any." But knowing how it works, you just have to be prepared for everything,
Mhm.
kind of, and be prepared that it can't. If they say 2 hours, it might take 10. My absolute favorite, it was one of my first video shoots. I don't normally get like starstruck and I'm not like, oh my god, this is Idonia. Like, no, it's like, okay, you're a great artist, but it's not like I can breathe when I see you. But I only had this experience a little bit once, and it was
Mhm.
when I was doing my first video shoot for Sean Paul. And it's not just because he's a big star, it's more about that. I remember that the first time that I ever heard about something called dancehall was through Sean Paul, because I knew as a 14 or 15-year-old girl that, oh, there's this guy from Jamaica who does this music that is called dancehall. So that was the first time for me to ever hear about dancehall. And I remember when I was 14 or 15 and I was watching these videos, that I'm still in love with this girl, like dancing so beautifully, and I was trying to, do these moves. And then I come on the shoot. I didn't know who the shoot will be for. They just
Oh,
told
okay.
us, oh, come for the shoot, this and that. We pay this much. You have to bring this and that. I was like, okay, just going on the shoot. And I come to the shoot and I see Sean Paul and I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. Like, because to me, it was it was very personal in a way that that's the
Yeah.
first person that I ever heard of with dancehall, and now the story is just making the full circle, and now I'm dancing in his video. And when you will tell me when I'm 14, like, oh, one day you're gonna be this girl in the video, I will be like, you're kidding me. And then it was like really it, and I was so excited, and I was like, I couldn't believe that. So that was
Yeah.
definitely the best. Yeah.
Dreams definitely come true, and you are an example of it. So all of
Yeah.
us having hope right now. So you mentioned a lot about like social media presence, and I believe this is something super important for dancers, especially if you'd like to make money out of it and get some jobs, right?
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit more about how did you build your social branding online? Like how did you maybe had some strategy in place, or maybe it was just like some natural process of you collaborating and posting?
Hmm.
Just any tips, any examples of what is possible out there to get to the level when you have good following on Instagram or TikTok, whatever like platforms you use.
Sure. I'm afraid that my advices are gonna be irrelevant in these days because everything changed so much. When I was starting, it was probably like 10 years ago with my Instagram, and the rules were completely different. So now you have TikTok, which I don't even have to be honest, and you have all these like reels and other ways that I'm not even familiar with anymore. What is the best way right now to get the audience, because this is changing all the time. Back in the days it was way more simple, I would say.
Hmm.
So my strategy was just putting uh, quite a lot of like dancing videos out there with a lot of tricks, obviously, because that is always something that catch the eye. And for me it was the way of building my audience was taking part in a lot of this dancehall online competitions, as in
Hmm.
the challenges that they were
Okay.
doing. So let's say dancehall queen Anika make a video for a new song, and it's not like the challenge that we have now that you have to repeat the choreo. It's more like, oh, just you dancing to the song, and then
Yeah,
there's a
right.
competition who did the
I
best.
forgot about this. Why they stopped doing it? It was a big thing back in the days. I
I don't
remember.
know. Maybe they still do. Right now, it's more about the challenge. So one person create the challenge, and
Yeah.
everybody just follow that. But back in the days, it was just like, oh, how good you can dance to the song, basically. So I was taking part in a lot of this, not to win because sometimes it's hard to win, but just to build the audience. Because then, whenever there is a big competition, everybody is watching the videos, and then they're gonna follow the dancers. So even if you don't win, which happened to me like maybe once or twice, that I won something, but like basically it was more to grow the audience. I think for female dancehall dancers it's a little easier because uh, unfortunately some of these followers are not dancers but just guys who want to look at the girls dancing. But I
Yeah.
mean it still counts at the end of the day. It's still a follower.
Yeah.
So that pretty much saved my life during COVID, because thanks to the fact that I had a lot of followers, I was getting a lot of requests for promo music videos, like just dancing to artist songs where they pay dancers to create a video. And I was lucky enough to be in Jamaica among like other creative people, like dancehall dancers from Bella, who, for example, know how to do the video. So then I will hire one of them to do the video, the other one to edit. Then I would dance, and it was like a teamwork. And we were
Yeah.
creating a lot of those so that everybody can, make some money.
Just to switch the topic a little bit, correct me if I'm wrong. I know that you're an ambassador for Exodus Carnival in Jamaica and all over Caribbean. So can you tell us a little bit more about this collaboration that you guys doing, or is it something like you chose to be a part of, or was you invited, and how the trips look like? And I mean, from social media perspective, everything's fun, everything's amazing. So just want to know a little bit of details on that.
Yeah, it is amazing indeed. I love working with them, and it's a beautiful journey, and I'm so happy and grateful for it. Recently, I gravitated more towards like soca and carnival stuff
Hmm.
than dancehall, which is another long topic. But basically, what I love about soca music is that it's so positive and so happy, and there is no negativity in the lyrics. There's nothing about killing people. There's nothing about um, there's nothing too vulgar. It's still like a little bit like the whole Caribbean music, but it's more, it's about friendship, it's about love, it's about happiness, about having fun together, about girls whining too, but it's a very happy, positive music. So that's what I really love about soca. And collaboration with Exodus happened somehow pretty organically. Like the more I was gravitating towards soca, first they messaged me about like giving me the costume for free for the carnival, so I was happy for that. And then I went with them, and then I don't know, somehow like they saw that I'm on the next carnival and that I'm doing some shoot, and they just invited me to for a meeting and then for the first shoot. And somehow we ended up really loving working together, so now I'm their ambassador and their model, and I work for them with promoting the whole carnival in Jamaica, and promoting their costumes. And yeah, it's sometimes it's these are photo shoots, sometimes parties, or sometimes even some trips to, like last year we went to Cayman Islands to promote collaboration between Exodus from Jamaica and the local band from Cayman.
Mhm.
So it was very, yeah, very beautiful experience that let me take part in more carnivals that I would be able to afford by myself, because that's unfortunately a very pricey hobby too. And it's fun, and it's also connected with dancing. um, and the costumes are so beautiful, they're just gorgeous.
Yeah,
So it's
especially on
always
your body. I mean, hands down.
thank you. Yeah, of course. Like I have to go to the gym even more now that I work for them, because I these are the costumes that you can't hide nothing.
Yeah, so getting back to the point that you just made about the music, because I remember you was posting something on your story saying like, oh, bring the positive vibes and dancehall music back, like, all these new bangers in 2024, 2025 are like a bit
Oh, you
depressing.
are really watching.
I am. I was preparing. Do you feel like back in the days it was like a bit different topics that was covered through dancehall music, or like why do you think that was like a shift in the pattern and the topics that we discuss, even within the music, because music is also a form of communication in some sense. So what do you think is the main reason of this kind of change?
Okay. Yes. So I don't know. Probably part of this change is just the way I changed, and it's personal, and it has nothing to do with dancehall. But part of it, I'm sure, it has to do with dancehall. So let's focus on this. I feel like, of course, it was always music about pretty tough life, and it was more like a relief for people who were living a very challenging life, to have some fun and to enjoy themselves and maybe forget about their struggles. um, and of course sometimes it will describe violence, or like a hardcore sexual activities and all that, and it was the part of reality in Jamaica. And I understand that, and it's always been like this. But I feel like recently it got to the point where um, I think it was more happy back in the days, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, First of all, the female dancehall part, I think it was way more respectful towards women, because even when they were singing about, oh my God, your pum pum is so wonderful, it's still like appreciating a woman in maybe a little bit more explicit way than in Europe we would do that, but it's still with love. And that's what I also liked about dancehall music, that even in America, I think it was like the twerk music, for example. When I was also teaching twerk, I never liked the songs because I felt like they were downgrading many times, and it was all about um, it wasn't beautiful in no way. It wasn't appreciative of a woman. Versus dancehall was always made with, I feel like it was just a lot of love and appreciation towards women. And then dancehall started being kind of like American music when they started calling girls bitch, or saying the mean stuff, or just treating sexual act as a money exchange, like money for sex, which never happened in this way before in dancehall. And now it's like very, um, yeah, I would say it's a different vibe. Of course, it was always a little hardcore, but not in this way. So that's about the female dancehall. And then even like the violent lyrics. I think that back in the days they were more like full of energy, and if anything they were more like maybe angry, or more like sometimes even they were describing this violent stuff in like more fun way, or like using the creative metaphors.
Hmm.
uh, and But it was more like uh, with emotion and passion and maybe the anger. Now it's more like very dark. It's more like calculated and more planned. And when they sing about like killing people, it's kind of scary to me. Dancehall became very depressing. Personally, I think it's because of COVID, because a lot of people maybe. Yeah, I think it's not a surprise. Like a lot of people got depressed in COVID, even in Europe. I think in Jamaica is the same thing. It's just that in Jamaica nobody will go to therapy. They will probably make songs about it and sing about it. So dancehall became very dark, very depressive, very much about, oh, you can't trust people, and people are evil, and everybody's gonna trick you, and the girl is gonna leave you, and it became just so negative. Um, and Probably it came together for me with the time that I really started diving deeper into psychology, which I was studying, and I read a lot of books, and it's just not what I believe in. I don't believe that we should isolate ourselves from people and not trust them, and then the world is bad place. It's not what I want to put in my brain and in my body. So I stopped listening to dancehall, to be honest, right now. Of course, I'm in Jamaica, so it's everywhere. And whenever the old school dancehall plays, or like the mid school, or all this like fun tunes, even I don't know, ding dong or the step tunes, I still love it. I'm still happy to hear that. But like the new dancehall is, I have problem with it, to be honest, because I think it would be nice if music was promoting the good things. And as much as it's hard here, and of course I understand that people gonna sing about it because it's a form of relief for them as well, but I think we need more songs that will show you that, hey, you can do it different. The life can be still beautiful, and maybe you should put in some work, and like just something uplifting. And it's not much of it. And
Yeah.
also, oh, the next trend I don't like, besides like downgrading women and being very dark and negative, the next thing I don't like is this trend of like being dunce, like when they sing about just being stupid and that it's fine. I don't like it, because dancehall never used to be like this. Like if you realize, even Cartel, he was so creative with his lyrics, and he's a very smart guy that can put the words together, even if he sings about some like light topics, or about women, or about anything that is not serious. The way he puts the metaphors, he's like a poet to me. Like he's really
Yeah,
so
totally.
creative. Yeah, so I loved this creativity about dancehall, which I think disappears because you can hear the same lyrics over and over again, and the songs are just boring, either about like something negative, or about like, oh, drinking Hennessy and smoking weed. And it's like, it's missing something to me.
Yeah, I totally can relate. And I had a similar conversation with Seven Cryptic, like maybe a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And we've been discussing this, shift. You would never hear that before, but nowadays there are so many, different drugs that artists just like name, just pop pill and do that and do this. That
Yeah.
before it never happened. It's like, of course, we all know about the weed. Weed is out of question. But when it comes to some serious drugs and in promoting it to the younger generation, it's just going to have a different
This
basic.
as well. Yeah, I think it just promotes the wrong values, because it's not just about describing reality anymore. It's more about, oh, just get the money fast, chop the line, which is, scam people, basically thief the money so that you can buy pills and pay girls to like do all
Yeah.
this freaky stuff. And no.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it comes from, so also maybe the inspiration comes from the United States, because this type of music was there for years. And I think young artists might be influenced also by the American artists. But um yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not
And even it's funny because sometimes like I even talk to hip hop dancers and they're just like, dancehall recently really sounds like hip hop. And it's like you can dance hip hop to dancehall because of the way they, using the tunes and the rhythms are, different speed, different energy and
they
the
call
mood.
it trap dancehall now.
Oh, okay,
The
I didn't
new
know about that.
wave. Yeah. They yeah, and it's true. It sounds a little bit like, yeah, like hip hop.
Yeah, makes sense. And I like that you like diverted the conversation a bit to psychology, because you mentioned that that maybe it's my personal self-development that brought me to this thought, and I can relate a lot because I've
Hmm.
been through some sort of crisis myself, and I was questioning a lot of things, what I like, what I don't like,
Okay.
and I've been in therapy my whole life, and I'm really interested in psychology. My both parents are therapists, so I have some sort of a background.
Wow.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I love that you post about psychology and you share the book reviews. Maybe not the most viral content on your page, especially taking.
Definitely not, but I'm not giving up.
Yeah, but yeah, I wanted to ask, like before we started the conversation, that if you have a degree in psychology, that's what I thought. But then you just mentioned it in the beginning of the call, so I'm curious if what type of books you read, maybe what sort of self education you do when it comes to psychology. Like, what is your maybe favorite practices, or how you can merge it with your day to day life.
Hmm. Okay, yeah, that's an interesting question. Well, I started reading a lot, like maybe 3 years ago, um, and ever since I just dive deeper and deeper into that. Um, all kind of psychology books, like I love everything. It's mostly I started my research with books about happiness, a lot. Even books about depression, which I'm not depressed, but I'm just very curious about this topic because I feel like it's so common these days that people get depressed. I was just very curious about how does that work and where does that come from. A lot of books about love and about creating relationships, because that's also I think it's a very up-to-date topic where a lot of people is struggling with, like, finding meaningful connections and also how to create them. So a lot of these topics, I read a wonderful book about self-esteem recently as well. So more like light topics. It's nothing like, not clinical psychology, nothing like this, nothing too heavy, but also like neurobiology, so like how our brain functions and how it affects our behaviors, basically how to live a good life. That's a very interesting topic to me.
Yeah, so I'm curious if like you was ever thinking of pursuing this career because you got a degree in psychology, or was it mostly like something that you chose back in the days when you were young and you decided to study psychology because you was interested in it, and then you just found your love and passion in being a dancer and working in tourism.
The second option, definitely. I always knew I wanted to study something because I wanted to have a degree, and psychology just seemed the most appealing and the most interesting out of all this. I didn't know what I'm gonna do in life because when you're 18, like, you can't really tell, but right. But I thought that at least it's not going to be a wasted time because it's something that is going to be interesting. And I was right. The studies were very, very interesting. But I was not that fascinated with psychology up until now. So I
Mm-hmm.
finished it. It was fine. I have my degree, but I never thought about pursuing career in psychology because at that time I was all about dancing and that's all I wanted to
Yeah.
do. um, but this is something that I'm very happily going back to right now, and doing my own research and thinking that maybe at some point it is going to be useful. So for now, I'm just collecting the knowledge whenever I have a free time. And who knows, maybe in the future I will mm, get deeper into it and maybe find some psychology related work, because also I realized, and that's what I also try to do on my Instagram. As you notice, it's maybe not the most successful, but I feel like there, at least if I can reach couple people with that and make them read the book, I'm super happy, because some people message me after like, hey, I read the book that you recommended, it was really good, and I think my mission is completed then.
Yeah.
I'm just happy to make this knowledge more popular and accessible, and maybe if somebody gets interested with it, I think our world will benefit a lot with people who like read more of this type of stuff, because it really, it helps you as a person, it helps you to be a better person in society.
Yeah, sounds like a plan. I mean, you never know, and I believe that no matter what you studied in life, or no matter what was you interested in, it's never a waste of time, because you do not know, maybe later in your life you will be, I don't know, working for someone who's interested in the same topic, so maybe it will be useful for your job or whatever it is. So it's like the more knowledge in different kind of categories you have, the better for you as a human being, for your self development as well. So, because you started talking about the business of yours, this is like the last topic I would like to cover before we wrap it up. So,
Uh-huh.
we all seen the post on Instagram, and you said that you just took over company, and congratulations again on being
Thank
the
you.
CEO. That is absolutely like amazing news, and like a little bit excited, a little bit maybe scary at the same time. So, I just like to ask you, like, to share maybe some outlooks on that, like what it took you to get to where you are at the moment, maybe just share some insights, or if you already have experience working with people or leading the team. So if you can share anything on your business and what you are up to right now, would be really really interesting to know.
Sure. All right. So yeah, so that's the tour company I was working for the past like over 7 years. Um, it's a small one because obviously we don't have. I only work with Polish tourists, so it's a small niche in Jamaica, but it's enough to like sustain the business. And there's more and more people coming here, and not all of them speak English. Not all of them feel comfortable. They don't know the place, so they usually need somebody from their country to like take them
Mm-hmm.
by their hand and show them around in safety and in nice atmosphere. So that's what we've been doing. It was just me and my boss, so just two people in the company for all these years. Eventually, he got tired of it, so he started giving me all the guests that I was serving them by myself and organizing more and more stuff by myself, getting more responsibilities, doing the tours, not just the individual but also the groups for like 50 people or like 115. That was my biggest group.
That's a lot of people.
It is. So yeah, so it was more and more responsibilities, and at the end he got tired of it. He wanted to pursue some other project. He was like, you know what, I think I'm going to sell the company. And originally he was planning to sell it to some tour operators from Poland. But I asked him like, okay, so how much you are selling it for? How does the deal go? And then we started talking. He was like, he said that he would be the happiest if I could take it over. um, so we spoke about it, and it happened very quickly. It literally took all my savings.
Oh my gosh.
So that was, yeah, that was a huge, huge, huge thing because yeah, it's a lot of money and it's a huge step, and it ties me down to Jamaica for a while for sure. But I believe that it's a great step forward. I wanted to, not just work as a tour guide, but also develop in different areas, and I think that that was the right thing to do. It should be exciting.
Absolutely.
I hope it will go well. Um, and yeah, I'm super excited with like some new projects that I'm working on right now, and the way I want to um, set the path for the company and maybe do some stuff a little bit different since it's mine now. And yeah, it's scary, as you said. Of course it always is, but it's also super exciting. And yeah, I hope it's gonna go well.
It will. I'm sure. I'm sure. With years to come, you're gonna say, "Oh my God, it was the best investment of my life," and I'm so happy I did it. And everything like which is out of our comfort zone, I believe, is the best decisions you can make for yourself. So I have no doubt that.
You're all right. Yes. I agree.
Amazing. Yeah. So I think we're going to finish here. I love how you can combine so many different things that you could accomplish in your life and just give an example and maybe an inspiration to someone who is, afraid to step up or doesn't know what, you know, direction to go with their life, or just to continue being a dancer, maybe introducing new job or whatever career in their life. So yeah, this is amazing, and that's what I love about women and our mentality. And we are capable of so many things, and like us being naturally multitaskers, I believe also helps a lot in pursuing different careers. And I think the more we're going to share this kind of experience with each other, the more we're going to help the community to grow closer, which is my biggest hope.
Yeah, you're totally right, and that's also what that's the biggest thing I would want to promote with my own self, and with the way what I do and what I believe in is like, we women, we are so powerful, and we can. I hate seeing girls just fitting in one box, and they're like, okay, now I'm a mom, so I have to be this and that, or now I own a business, so I have to, like, no. It's only up to us who we are and what we're gonna do with our lives. And if you are a dancer, it don't mean that you can't have your serious business. If you are a lawyer, it don't mean that you cannot,
Dance.
dance and do splits if you want to. And I think that's wonderful, and we should also teach this society that is sometimes very male dominated, that we can do whatever we want, and we are capable of so many wonderful things. That putting us in one box is very unfair.
Absolutely agree. Explore what else you're capable of. That's what it comes to. Okay, Aga, so I'm very, very happy that we had the chance to have this conversation today. Also thank you again for finding time, because I know with all these new responsibilities, your schedule probably gets busier and busier, and sometimes even having a 1 hour, just to talk is a lot to ask. I'm
But
very,
it
very
was such a good talk. Thank you so much for your questions. Like, you came so prepared. I'm shocked, honestly. And it was a very good conversation. And thank you so much. I'm excited for what you are doing, and for your work. It
thank
sounds
you,
very, very interesting.
thank you, thank you. Okay, see you guys online.